everyone, welcome to another episode of rawradianthealth.com, and I'm Natasha St. Michael, and thank you so much for joining me. So today's Monday, it's the beginning of the week, and today I want to talk about a subject that recently has been very near and dear to me, and that is I have a vitamin B12 deficiency. And I only found it recently. I found it right before I moved to Asia. As most of you hopefully know, I'm living in Bali right now and loving it. But right before I moved, I went to see a doctor in Canada because I literally packed up all my stuff, got rid of everything I owned, got rid of my home, everything. And one of the last things I wanted to do was just make sure to see a Western doctor, get all my blood work done, make sure that I'm in perfect health. And I went right before I left, and luckily I had asked for a B12 test just to make sure, and I realized I'd never actually been tested for B12. Every year I get tested for like everything. I mean, from my thyroid to my cholesterol levels to all sorts of stuff, right? My hormones, I get tested every year. But for some reason, I never get myself tested for B12. And I have been supplementing on and off for years, okay? I've been vegetarian for over 20 years. So I would say since my early 20s, I have been supplementing with vitamin B12 because there were times where I was on a vegan diet or I was off one, and I've never really been all that much into eating dairy products. I never liked cheese, I don't like milk, none of that. So if I was eating any dairy products when I was vegetarian, it was usually maybe ice cream once in a while or eggs once in a while. But you know, really, I knew I wasn't getting, you know, B12 from any of my food sources, so I was always off and on supplementing, and therefore I just never got tested. But for some reason I asked for a test this time, and I'm happy I did, because literally it was like a good 36 hours before I got on a plane did I get a call from the doctor being like, you got to come down here now and get a B12 injection, and you need to get on the supplements and get this sorted out. So I was very low, okay? My level was an 86 PCG, I believe it's measured in, and which is low, okay? Usually most conventional mainstream doctors will say that if you're, you know, the normal range for B12 should be anywhere between 200 and 750. Gets any lower than that, you're really deficient. And Dr. Gabriel Cousins, who's done a lot of research on B12 deficiency, actually says that you should actually be higher than 450. If you're getting anything lower than 450 when your blood is tested, then you really should be supplementing. So being like an 86, it's not very good. And I was getting symptoms of it, and I knew something was up, but I really didn't quite know what. I was losing my sense of smell, I was very tired, and I was feeling very overwhelmed, and especially in the last few months. And I thought it all had to do with moving, okay? Because moving is one of the biggest stresses, right? It's up there with illness and losing a job, okay? It's a major stress to move, and I just thought I was overwhelmed with moving, and especially moving overseas. I'm moving overseas on my own. So, but I've done it before. Okay, this is not the first time that I've moved across the world. Okay, I traveled for years on end, and so I'm used to that kind of lifestyle. You know, that I was not quite sure why it was so hard for me, and why. At points I was very depressed, at points, you know, I could barely get out of bed. It was that bad. I even took time off work. I mean, it was really, I was overwhelmed. And I just thought it was because, you know, I'm sad because I'm leaving my friends and family, and maybe that was it. But it was also, I would say, you know, the most exciting time in my life, that I'm finally, you know, pursuing my dreams and living a life true to myself. And you know, it's, you always feel sort of alive when you're doing things that are outside the box, and for some reason I wasn't feeling it. I was just feeling like, wow, you know, there's so much to do, and I almost felt like I couldn't even do it. So I knew something was a little bit off. and so I guess intuitively I just knew to go and get this tested and to be sure. So I got an injection before I left, and the thing is that I need to bring up the levels, and obviously if was taking all the supplements before, I'm one of those people that doesn't absorb it probably from supplements or from food, okay, because the doctor did advise me if you were supplementing before, or they like to watch people on supplements that have a deficiency, because if the levels are not increasing or going back to a normal range, then it means the only way of actually absorbing it is through injection. So I will be watching that to see what happens with my B12 levels. It's a little bit more difficult, obviously, being in Southeast Asia and getting these kind of tests. I have been able, though, today I actually found a place to go and get a B12 injection, and I was quite amazed. In Bali, actually able to get it. I went all the way to Denpasar, which is, a big city in Bali, and at the hospital there they didn't have any injections of it, but I actually found a little clinic that did, and they have a good stock, so I will be okay. And I know if I go to Thailand or Singapore, I'll be fine there with getting shots. It's just certain places it's a little bit more difficult. So I do want to talk about this B12 thing, because it is very important, especially for anyone that is on a vegetarian or vegan diet. And it's not only vegetarians and vegans that are B12 deficient. If you have, and this is what I want to stress right now, is that if someone has a history of smoking, if they have a history of having any kind of inflammatory bowel condition or disease, like having Crohn's, or having colitis, or even having irritable bowel, okay, or having celiac disease, anything that's affecting their intestines, it's going to cause issues where they probably are not absorbing B12. Okay, so it's not only vegetarians and vegans, but it's if you're a smoker, if you've taken, a course of antibiotics for a long period of time, if you've been on birth control pill for a long period of time, or if you've had any kind of bowel condition where you're not absorbing nutrition properly, then you should be supplementing, and you should be testing yourself to make sure, because the one thing about having a B12 deficiency is it affects your nervous system, and a lot of it can actually damage your nervous system, and things cannot be reversed. Okay, once certain things are damaged, they're damaged for good, and you don't want to get there. Okay, people can get paralyzed from this. They can get Alzheimer's, dementia, like all sorts of issues. Okay, and so it affects your mood. People get depressed, they get anxious, and I mean, even as far as a lot of schizophrenics are actually treated with B12, and actually helps with a lot of their symptoms of paranoia and things like that. So, there's things that your body obviously needs this vitamin in order for the brain and the nervous system to function. And especially for women out there that are planning to get pregnant or are trying to get pregnant, they really should make sure that they have good levels of B12, because if they don't, there's potential of harming the baby, and a baby being born with major issues, okay, and brain damage, things like that, and that's like the last thing anyone wants, right? So main thing is I do suggest anyone that is on a vegan diet or on a vegetarian diet, or they're having stomach issues where they know they're not absorbing their nutrition, or they're smoking a lot of cigarettes or things like that, then definitely get onto a B12 supplement. Now, there's different types of B12 supplements. The main thing I suggest is people get onto a methylcobalamin B12 supplement, okay? This is the most easily absorbable, most bioavailable B12 supplement you're going to take, and not to take it in a pill form where you swallow it, okay? Because a lot of times the pills don't actually break down in your digestive system, and things don't actually get absorbed. You're better off getting a sublingual supplement that you actually put underneath your tongue, and your body absorbs it that way. That way it goes straight into your bloodstream, and it bypasses having to be broken down and digested. And it's got to be methylcobalamin, not cyanocobalamin, okay? So that is something to always look at the back of the bottle of a supplement to make sure that that is what you're getting. Thing two is that you don't you can't overdose on B12, okay? It's like vitamin C that if you get an extra amount, you actually just eliminate it through your urine, okay? So there's nothing to worry about with getting too much of it. Obviously you don't want to be dousing yourself with it, but you really want to ensure that you're getting adequate amount, because someone could take like 1,000 milligrams of it and only be absorbing like 1. Okay, it's not easily absorbable, but you don't even need all that much. But I would say I'd recommend for any vegan or vegetarian to be taking at least 1,000 milligrams a day. Okay, just to ensure that you are getting enough and that you're not going to run into problems down the line. Now you can also get it from your food. You can get it from dairy products, from eggs, from fish, from clams, from meat. Okay, so you can get it from animal products. Okay, but you can't get it from you can get trace amounts from fruits and vegetables, but very little, and it's not going to make a difference. So that is something that, you know, if you don't want to be supplementing with supplements or with, you can get injection as well, which is a lot easier, and that really does ensure that you're absorbing it. But if you want to get it through your food, you can go to animal products. Now, a lot of times people think that you can get it from algae, like spirulina. Well, spirulina does have B12 in it, but it also has B12 analogs, and a B12 analog actually blocks the absorption of B12. So whatever you're going to get from that spirulina of the B12 is being blocked in the spirulina as well. So you can't really get it from the algae, all right? So, but you can also get it from trace amounts from fermented foods. Okay, so fermented foods do have a little bit of B12, a very small amount, but there's a little bit in there, as well as nutritional yeast. Okay, so something else to look out for, and as well as Vegemite has it too. Okay, so that's my little thing on the B12. I'm happy I caught it with me and that I'm doing okay, and I've been able to find a source for it here. So I'm wishing you guys a fabulous day, and I just want to mention as well that this coming Wednesday is the next 10-day juice fast. It's starting December 1st, Wednesday, so do sign up. Go to my website at www.rawradianthealth.com. It's perfect. It's right before all the holidays if you want to lose some weight and look hot and feel great, especially for the holiday parties. Get on top of it, especially reset your taste buds and your diet now, so later on down the line when you're going to all the parties and eating all the food, you'll be able to stop, you'll be able to know what your limits are, and you'll just be feeling good in your body, that it'll be easier to stay on your diet. Alright, so go to my website and sign up for the juice fast at rawradianthealth.com. Wishing you a fabulous day, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye!